Well, it looks like we're starting to see some movement from Sony when it comes to the PlayStation Plus reboot that they're doing. Well, basically the merging of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now with the 3 different tiers. And it looks like we are starting to get an idea as to which games are going to be part of that premium tier with the retro library that will include PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games. Remember PS3, though, being all streaming for now, as we're starting to see some ratings come out, and I think we could be pointing to maybe even a full revival for an IP with Sony. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new here to the Small Wave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Let's head over here. This is posted up by Gamatsu, where they say Siphon Filter 1, 2, Dark Mirror, and Logan Shadow rated for PS5 and PS4 in Korea. And this happens all the time, right? We'll see a ratings board have to publish ratings for games that are submitted, and well, they have to do it. So typically we'll at least get an idea as to a game, whether it's coming up or if it just ends up getting leaked out that way. Seems to be the case here, although it's not shocking to believe that Siphon Filter would be coming to the PlayStation Plus premium tier. It makes sense. It's an IP that Sony owns, so why wouldn't they throw it in there? But the interesting thing about this, which we can go down here, and I mean, these are PS1 games and then PSP games, where Gamatsu even goes over some of the history of it here. Siphon Filter, what that was in 99. Siphon Filter 2 was in 2000. That's a pretty quick turnaround if you think about it, by the way. Like a year later, here's the next game. And I mean, development back then on the PS1 and even N64 was a bit faster than it is now with everything going on in games currently. And then also on the PSP in 2006 and then 2007. So there is still, I believe, one on the PS2. Okay, Gamatsu points it out here. That there was, so Siphon Filter 3 isn't rated. That was on the PS1. And then Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain on the PS2 in 2004. I could see them just over time working to add those titles. Remember, Sony doesn't want to throw everything in all at once because they will be expected to update this service over time. So I don't know if it's an every month thing, every other month. That's still something that's up in the air right now when it comes to this entire service. But it did kind of remind me of Days Gone director Jeff Ross mentioning that Sony actually brought up Siphon Filter at one point in time, specifically after Days Gone. If you remember, Ben Studio was trying to do a sequel to Days Gone, and Sony didn't seem that interested, despite sales at least appearing to warrant a sequel. And there were other ideas in play, and apparently Siphon Filter was brought up by someone at Sony to Ben Studio, like, hey, Siphon Filter would be kind of interesting. Now, Jeff Ross mentioned that he had pitched an open world Resistance game. I would just like to see Sony do something with Resistance. That could be pretty cool. But with their current direction, when you consider them trying to do all these live service games, if they can leverage some of these intellectual properties that haven't done much in a while, that could actually give them a bit of a head start on what they say are going to be like 10 live service titles, at least with kind of the brand recognition around that game. Siphon Filter's interesting because it hasn't been around for a while now, and I think there are a lot of people, once again, coming into gaming, right? Because I know there are a lot of us who are older and we remember it on like the PlayStation or even the PSP, which seems, I think, downright retro to people now if you look back on when that released in 2005 for the system, that these would be brand new titles to them. So this could be a way for Sony to maybe get this series introduced to people through this PlayStation Plus premium tier. And who knows, maybe work to have Siphon Filter become one of these live service games. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting to see Siphon Filter ratings pop up and then get reminded that Sony was at least pitching the idea of some new Siphon Filter game that wouldn't be ready for 3 or 4 years anyway, falling in line with the live service plan that Jim Ryan's been talking so much about. We also had some dates for PlayStation Plus, the different tiers. It looks like Sony is going to do that staggered release, as we had mentioned, as they work to roll this out, probably so that they can avoid overloading like their servers and data centers, all of that. Rather than flip a switch and the whole world gets it, it seems like every 2 weeks, basically, they will have it go live in a different region, starting with Asia markets. That's excluding Japan, May 23rd. Japan, that'll be June 1st. Americas, June 13th. And then Europe, June 22nd, which means we're going to have to find out the large list of titles within the next month. So I think that's just going to be a press release. I believe they're just going to publish it up on PlayStation blog, and that's going to be it. And trust me, I've seen the wish list from people all over Twitter. I mean, things like Legend of Dragoon, to me, seems obvious. Seems like a slam dunk, just drop that in there, but who knows? That might be a title that Sony says, this would be a good one to save for a few months down the line when we want to make a big splash with an update. There's Legend of Dragoon headlining things there. But I am very curious specifically to see the PS1, the PS2, and the PSP section, and to see if they are able to improve it over PlayStation Now. Just seeing all those Siphon Filter games get rated, specifically for PS4 and PS5, which means that they should be played natively. I wouldn't expect those to be cloud streamed. That's exciting because that means that they are going to be dipping further and further into their vault of intellectual properties and games and bring them onto the PS4 and the PS5 for native experiences. But let me know what you guys think about this. Am I reading too far into this with Siphon Filter, or do you think we could actually see a revival of that intellectual property heading into this whole lineup of live service games that Sony's going to attempt? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.